Hi everyone, this little presentation is about the peer review workshop process that we're going to be doing in this class. I'll just use this one, or just present this generically, but use our ethnography project as our ethnography workshop as an example. So the first thing that you want to do is when you get into Blackboard, the first thing that you're going to want to do is, of course, post your draft to the discussion board, Ethnography Rough Draft Workshop. So the first thing that you want to do is create a thread and attach your rough draft up there so that other people in the class can read what you have. The next thing that you'll want to do, open up the Ethnography Peer Review Workshop questions. Again, for each project, like the next project, there'll be a proposal, so you'll want to look up the proposal peer review workshop questions in the discussion board, and then our empirical project at the end of the semester. So for right now, we have the Ethnography Peer Review Workshop questions. So open that up. You'll see a list of questions that I want you to respond to as you are reading each other's drafts. You're going to be reading two drafts. Post your rough draft to the discussion board. Second thing that you want to do is open up the workshop questions and, of course, read them. Make sure you read all of them so that as you're reading each other's drafts, you'll kind of already have an idea of the things that you're going to be looking for. So you might either want to go ahead and print them out, or at least have them accessible in some way so that you can refer back to them. So once you have those open and ready to go, what you're going to do is you're going to read at least two other drafts. And the drafts that I want you to read are, I want you to find first, find your name on the discussion board, and then you're going to respond to the draft that's above you and the one below you. Not alphabetically, but whoever's there on the list. So let's just say, for example, we're just going to use Jacqueline's draft, if that's okay, Jacqueline, since you've already put yours up there. And so if I were a student, I would, of course, look at the questions, read the questions, and these are fairly specific questions. These are probably some of the more important, large revision types of things that I want you to be thinking about for your ethnography. So some of them are kind of identification questions. So, what group is the author writing about? So make sure that that's clear. And a couple of questions about the introduction. In the introductory paragraphs, does the author do all of these things, talk about these things? About the paper itself, so the focus, what elements, the purpose for doing the ethnography in the first place, what was their research plan, what was their execution, how did they go about conducting the ethnography? Do they have a clear thesis or main interpretation of the group's communication practices, which is kind of the focus of this ethnography? And then the introduction, do they also give us a little bit of context about the group itself, their significance, their history, how they are, what they look like in the present? And then there's some questions about the body, and those will largely be determined by whatever elements you decide to focus on. So these questions here are about organization. Does the organization seem good? Support, is there plenty of support from sources about the different claims? And is everything connected back to the primary thesis or to the main interpretation going on? Does the writer include visuals? And that's not required, but they might be helpful. And then finally, a question about the tone and style. You can either write for a formal academic audience or for a popular public audience, like from the Best Science Writing of 2010, like some of those. Or you could write it in the vein of Black Ducks and Salmon Bellies, or you can write it like ultimate, specialized formal audience if you want to. And metaphors. We've been talking about metaphors a lot lately. So I've read the questions, so I want to look at a draft. So let's say that I have opened up a draft. So there are a couple of ways that you can respond to the ethnography. One, you can respond in the form of a memo. So you can take these questions on the peer review questions. You can take those questions and just write a memo responding to each of those things in there. And if you so you can do it that way, or you can use the comments functions and the track changes in Microsoft Word. It's up to you either way. You could probably even do both ways, I suppose, if you wanted to. As you can tell, I like using the comments and track changes. It's easier for me. You know, if I have a comment here under review, if you're not familiar with Microsoft Word, if you click on review, there are track changes and comments. So let's say here I think that this is the writer's thesis statement. So I might say, you know, here is the thesis, clear, explicit, etc. Comment, comment, comment. So I can use the track changes, or I can use the comments functions to answer the different questions. So here the writer is giving audience context about the history of the group, but could take some time to talk about what the group currently looks like. You could use the comments in here, or if you want to, you can read the whole thing, open up another document, and write a memo, write it in a paragraph form as your response. And then you can also use track changes. Sometimes you might notice some editing things that you want to help out with. I haven't really read through this one. So let's say, for instance, I think that a comma should go right here. I can kind of insert the comma. And the thing about track changes, it's really cool. It highlights it in red so the writer can see where you've added things, and words or punctuation or things like that, to help each other out if you want to with some of the grammatical things. Period inside the quotation marks, comma after well, perhaps. That's something that you can certainly do. Or again, like I said, you can take notes and then write a formal memo. Whichever way that you do that, you'll want to save your response somehow. Sample response, like that. How about that? That'll work. And then when I'm ready to, when I'm finished with my response, all I want to do is just hit reply. And then attach your response. Just like that. So everybody can see it. I can see it. Other people can see it. Especially if you want to see how other people have written their responses. You know, that's what the discussion board's for up here. It's a shared resource between all of us. So you post it as a reply, so the author can read it, I can read it, other people in the class can read our responses and get further direction, further ideas, and that's what it's there for. Again, like I said, anybody should be able to come in and see what everybody else is writing about and how they're writing. It's a wonderful resource for us. So you do that twice, to the draft that's above you and then the draft that's below you on the discussion board, and guess what? And then you're done. You're done for the workshop. That's all you have to do. So make sure that you are following the questions that come up here in the in here. Anything else, again, that comes to mind that you might want to write about. But I think these are the things that I'm most concerned about at this stage in the writing process. All of these items right here in these questions. The due dates, just to remind you for all of these, right? Your rough draft must be posted by midnight on Saturday. Responses to everybody's drafts sometime Tuesday. I don't want you to spend more than 20-25 minutes on each draft. If you find yourself reading and responding to and you're really pushing, if you're going over half an hour, just go ahead and stop, finish up the memo, and go from there, and then work on the next one. So try not to spend longer than between 20 and 30 minutes on each draft. That way on Tuesday, you can see what other people have written about your drafts, and then all you're working on next week is revising your final draft. I'll probably put some things up here on Blackboard about the next unit, and there might be a little bit of work with that. But as far as the ethnography goes, that's all you should be working on for that. All right. Well, good luck. Look forward to seeing how each of you respond to some of these larger projects that you're going to be working on. You've been doing a lot of short-ish types of writing, and it's really exciting to see what you all are coming up with for your larger projects. So let me know if you have any questions.